Hello everybody and welcome to the United Stand Patreon page. Something a little bit different today, doing it in more relaxed surroundings while we take some of your questions. So thanks to everybody who sent their questions in on the Patreon page. It's enabling me to try a few different things with the camera that we've got. So first question is from Aaron R. He says, where and what do you see the United Stand doing and becoming in the next few years, and what direction are you hoping to go and where are you hoping to end up? Lots of questions there from Aaron. Good question as well. I don't know is the honest answer. I mean, we started this 2.5 years ago with nobody watching, and now we are going into another summer transfer window with 220,000 subscribers, a Patreon page, Facebook, Twitter, so it's going well. I mean, I would like it to keep going well. I think we all would like to keep it going well, and while it's growing, that's great, but the long-term vision for the United Stand has to be the vision that we had at the start, which is just to be a forum and a community for fans to really be able to express their opinion. And I know those opinions aren't always positive opinions, but that you know, I've been a football fan for many years, and the conversations I have in the pub or at work or when I was at school weren't always positive. They were the sort of the conversations, oh, you know, he was rubbish, he shouldn't be in the 11. You know, it's not the sort of thing you see on the TV or directly through the club, quite rightly. So that's what the United Stand is, and as long as it's a forum for that, I think that's the main thing. As long as it can continue to be a community where people can express opinion. David Ashwood says, David Ashwood, sorry, says, who do you believe is the perfect centre-back partner for Eric Bailly for next season to complete for the Premier League and the Champions League? Do we already have that person at the club, or do we have to buy a player? Or who would it be? Well, it's interesting about Eric Bailly at the moment because he's not getting games, is he? And there's rumours about all sorts of issues around him. But I think you're right, Eric Bailly should be the starting centre-back. I think Lindelof can be, although he's got a bit more growth. Smalling's a backup. Rojo could do it as well. So Rojo or Lindelof could do it. Phil Jones you never can rely on. Yeah, Rojo or Lindelof for me, unless we sign somebody, which I don't know whether we will. Ahmed Hamada says, I know there are many influences, predictable and unpredictable, but where do you see Manchester United in 5 years, as in identity, mentality of the team and club? It's a very difficult question, Ahmed. I don't think Mourinho will be in charge in 5 years. I think he might be in charge in 2 years, so I'm not saying he'll be gone in a year. We've got a lot of young talent coming through, so I'm going to be positive and say I hope in 5 years we're playing a brand of football that is exciting, with youth in the team, energetic, passionate, and we're challenging for the top prizes, Premier Leagues and Champions League. And within that 5 years, I think we've got to have won a Premier League at minimum. What would you rather do than have to watch Liverpool win a Champions League, says Andrew Southwick? Well, I'm going out for my brother's birthday. I won't be watching it, so. But there are a lot. What would I rather do than that? Give birth. Hadi says, Jose Mourinho history just to make United fans stop listening to rumours and media to know the truth. I'll give you examples. When he came in 2004 to the Premier League and he found 2 teams to beat, it was World War III. I mean, Sir Alex and his first few years. It's a big comment there from Hadi, and I'm just going to say, Hadi, when he came to Chelsea in 2004, he was a very young, passionate manager. I don't see that passion anymore. I don't see that love for the game anymore. And he was given a lot of money that Manchester United and Arsenal at that time weren't spending that sort of money. So he had a lot of money, he had a lot of passion, and he was very hungry. And I don't think those things are in Mourinho's armoury anymore. He hasn't got money that he can just go and beat people with because Man City have got money. And I genuinely don't think he's in love with football as he was. Like Leo Orchard says, if Fellaini signing a contract means we no longer get Savic, how do you think that would affect the existing sour relationship with the fans? I don't think Jose Mourinho really cares about the fans and what they think about Marouane Fellaini. Mourinho thinks about what he wants, and maybe, you know, that is right, maybe as a manager, but it's a weird one, Fellaini. He represents everything that United shouldn't do, and Mourinho ignores that. So it'd be interesting to see how that dynamic works, because I can't see Fellaini actually working at Manchester United. I think it's a mistake, and I'll be very surprised if I'm proved wrong on that. And Leo also says, have you heard the reports of Mourinho willing to have Martial play a more central role? Well, hopefully he'll play, if you're watching this today, hopefully he'll watch it. Hopefully he'll play up front tonight against Brighton, because Lukaku's out. If you're not watching it, you'll know the answer. But I don't want Martial to leave. And Kamyar says, Mourinho doesn't practice attacking football with players. Here are my proofs. We are rubbish at free kicks. Lukaku's first touch is still shit. If Jose is the best manager, he needs to fix it. Pogba and Sanchez playing at the same position, moving the ball slowly. It's very interesting actually, because Mourinho said that he substituted Sanchez because he was getting into Pogba's space. Has Mourinho only just realised that? Has he been watching the United stand or something? Because we've been on about that collectively as a community for weeks and weeks and weeks. So you should be aware of that. Stavros Mangara says the second question is on a topic that has been discussed numerous times on who is capable of replacing Jose if he leaves. And my question is, Jose is here short term, isn't it inevitable that he will have to be replaced? If the next manager won't have Shaw and Martial, won't it be worse for him to rebuild? If Jose stays a couple more years, the next manager might not even have Pogba and Rashford as well. Yeah, but the club backed Mourinho, so they're going to let him do whatever he wants to do. But there is a case there that if Mourinho's here for the short term, what does it mean for the long term? But I think the club are planning that Mourinho will be here for the long term. That would be my answer to that. And Stavros says, I've got a third question as well. Sophie, Flex and many others have criticised Pogba for taking extra touches on the ball, so we can't play one-touch football. My question is, out of all the teams that got into the UEFA League, Champions League last four, which team plays one-touch football? It isn't too much to question Pogba and something that no one on the European League does. Yeah, I think you might be going to town a little bit on one-touch football there, because Pogba does hold on to the ball for too long. He takes too many touches, and I think you're right. You know, a lot of teams don't do one-touch football, but I think it's specific to Pogba. Is he holds onto the ball too long, much longer than top midfielders do and attacking players do. He does hold onto the ball a lot too much. Takes too many touches, too many flicks. I'm not saying he needs to be first touch, but he does keep onto the ball. It is infuriating at times. He does keep hold of the ball too much. Not all the time, and he needs to address that. But there are times to get rid of the ball, and Pogba needs to learn that. If you could ask Mourinho just one question that he had to give a 100% honest answer to, what would you ask him? That's from Aaron R. Bloody hell, it's a good question. It would have been about Martial. I mean, I suppose I'd ask this direct question because it's relevant at the moment. I would say, why do you persist with Marouane Fellaini when you know that Manchester United fans don't like him, and the reason they don't like him is he represents everything that is not Manchester United, i.e. fast attacking football. Marouane Fellaini represents long ball, which he's good at, and boring football. So why do you persist with that as Manchester United manager when Manchester United manager and when Manchester United's history is not that way? Why do you feel that your football should be forced onto a club that doesn't play that way? Is that the price of success? And where is the success? I suppose I would say that. Be quite a tough question for him to answer. And yes, I think that's all the questions. So thanks everybody who's asked those questions to us. We will do this again. Keep getting involved with the Patreon page. Next week we will be back with a quiz on Tuesday night live at 8:30, and we will have the Q&A live on Thursday. It's only because of the European football we've been unable to do it this week. So I just wanted to try a few things out. And if you like this video, give us your thoughts below, because I can definitely do it again. And it's nice to be able to do that. So thanks everyone for watching. United stand tonight for the watch along. See you soon.